Hi, this is John from Clock Repairs Merseyside. This is just every year when we finish for Christmas, I usually try to improve the workshop in some way or other. Obviously we've worked in the same workshop for a year, so what I'll try to do then, I'll see what's worked for us. Obviously we have blades and we have the other workshop. Anyway, this year I decided to change this workshop around quite a bit. As you can see, we've just recovered the bench. That's more sort of when people bring stuff to us. What we'll do is put it there, have a look at it, put the light on. Maybe take a few photographs depending on what they're saying or about the clock. Take some photographs if there's any marks or damage to it. Obviously, we don't want to get the blame at the end of it, later on in the process of the repair. The main thing with this workshop, as if you remember some of my other videos, my Drummond lathe was there. So what I've actually done now, I've actually put a smaller type bench in there, and that's to do, things like when we're doing some brazing and things like that. And that's the other reason why it's not covered, is obviously, because it'll melt basically when you're using things with heat. And we've moved the lathe into the other workshop and set it up there, which I'll do another video on the lathe and where that is on another video. Me old desk, which I've had forever, I've just covered that, put some like a rubberized green leatherette type stuff. It just makes it look nice to the eye. Obviously we've got customers coming into our workshops, and so obviously we want the place to resemble and be as nice as possible. In other words, obviously first impressions and stuff. So obviously you don't want a workshop to look too badly, although it is a working workshop, and so obviously it does get untidy. I try to keep it as tidy as I can and as organised as I can. Obviously that's important in clock repair. You need things to be in order, so that obviously where parts are, because there's so many little components that it's very easy to mix things up, very easy to get them lost. So we do label everything. We have everything in containers, as you can see above there. They all have the yellow stickers on. Everything is just contained that way. As you can see, we've got quite a few trays there now, and they're all empty, so that's a good sign. We didn't manage to get every single clock back to customers. We often try to do that towards, as we get to Christmas, try and get everything back as possible. We sort of cut off probably a good month before Christmas in order for us to clear the workshops, but I didn't get a chance to do that this year because I had a personal issue. So I actually to close the workshop down for a couple of weeks, which wasn't really a problem, if I'm honest, because we did have the the ice and one thing and another, so I couldn't have let customers come to us anyway, because wouldn't want them to slip and stuff like that. So it sort of worked out. It wasn't too pleasant for me, but that's the way life is, I suppose. Yeah, as I say, the other reason we cover the benches, obviously, is that when customers bring clocks in, it's a thing I think that goes back. A lot of workshops, well, mainly watchmakers' workshops for me, being in there, the benches are always covered, and I think obviously when people are handling pocket watches and stuff, they don't want them scratched, but it's the same for clocks. If you're handling clocks, it's okay, you can put them on the side and they're not going to get scratched on a bench or anything, because you've got your sort of your leatherette type stuff. The only downside, obviously, over time it becomes worn and rips and stuff like that, although it is glued down quite firmly, as you can see. Yeah, so that's the alterations this year in the workshop. I hope one day to get it where I'm happy, where I don't have to do anything, but doesn't seem to happen very much. As I say, if we pan round, you can pretty much see it's pretty similar. I'll just move me D4 drill over slightly. That's a precision drill. I was led to believe it's Schublen. I don't really know for certain. I might do another article on that, another video on that at some point. It might be of interest to a few people. Pretty nice. So very, very lightweight. You probably 4mm drill bits at the very best, but that's okay. Pretty much that gets where we need. We've got the mill in the other workshop. So if we wanted to drill anything a bit, you know, a bit bigger, a lot bigger if you like, we could, no problem at all. Because obviously you can put a chuck in that, and it's like a pillar drill really. Obviously we've got our little lathe, our little trusty lathe that get absolutely hammered. As we pan round, yeah, we've got pretty much everything there. This is where Steve mainly works. I don't tend to work with. I also, for anyone who's interested, I put this ceramic type heater in. Now, I bought this particular one, well, I bought two of them. I bought this one and I bought one for the other workshop. I got them from West Germany, a German company. They cost me a bit more because I wanted them in white. I didn't want them in black. I wanted them in white so that they blend in with the sort of, whatever you call it, the colour of the workshop. I wouldn't say the decor. It's very, not really decorated, is it? It's a workshop. The reason I went for them, I mean, from the very early time with workshops, I went for this type of heat, infrared, and if you go down there, we have an old oil-filled radiator, because I read many articles and they cause condensation. If you use, say, like a gas bottle type heater, it will cause condensation. Now, obviously, in a workshop like this, where you've got, you know, such things as lathes and, you know, pillar drills and mills in the other workshop and things like that, you don't want condensation, because obviously it's not a great plan, is it? I mean, you do get condensation anyway, but you know, you don't want to sort of enhance that situation by having the wrong type of heating system. I mean, I think obviously it'd be much cheaper for me to work off gas bottles, but I'm just not. I don't want. I'd sooner pay more money out and have the right type of heating system. Well, this works quite well. The thing about this type of thing, which you find better than the oil-filled radiator type heat, is that this pretty much warms the whole workshop up, and then it'll switch off, and it just seems that it's a more pleasant heat. It's a more heat all around the workshop. Apparently it heats, the way infrared works, it heats people up, if you like, and so you feel warm, and it heats out big areas up. I don't know the total theory of it. I did read into it a little bit, but it's gone out of my mind with you know, having a few things going on. But yeah, I mean, it seems to work much better. I don't think they're any cheaper to run. I really don't. You know, everything's expensive. You know, electric power now is very, very expensive. I mean, thankfully, I'm not running something that depends on a lot of power, because the bills would be astronomical. I mean, my bills have probably doubled, trebled nearly. I mean, with power, and as I say, when we get the cold, it gets very, very cold. It's a real problem, isn't it? But yet, so I found them to be much better. Switch on the wall. Just got to remember to switch them off. I'm thinking of putting it on a timer, sort of to have it coming on of a morning, and then, you know, it going off during. I don't know how that'll work practically, to be honest with you, because sometimes we you know, we're switching it on and off because the temperature goes up and down. It works off a remote control type of thing. I put a little hole in that. And put a piece of gut line on it and put a hook through the socket there and hung it up. I know people are going to say you shouldn't have done that. That's the guarantee's void now. But I had to cut the plug off anyway because they sent it with a two pin plug, which, you know, with one of them death trap type adapters, you know, the ones that you know, open pit, terrible things. Them terrible. So they come off that pretty much straight away, and it went into a fuse spare. And obviously that comes round and goes straight into our fuse board, which is covered with an RCD, and exactly the same in the other workshop. Everything, you know, should be pretty safe. But yeah, so this is pretty much a short video. The workshop's pretty much the same, but as I say, each year I try to improve it just a little bit. I'm quite happy with that smaller bench. The other reason for the sort of smaller bench is obviously I'm limited with my footprint of, you know, my space, and so obviously it's nice to have a bit of space. But as times went on, I've got another small workshop actually, and I used to do pocket watch repairs and restoration in there on my own stuff, really. Mostly it was. I mean, I used to get the odd thing, and I still had this business where this was without any problems, and this was my main situation. But I mean, I've become more and more interested lately in pocket watches, should we say, more as a hobby. But I'm also getting asked by a lot of customers, do I do pocket watches? Do I do pocket watches? Now, yeah, I can repair pocket watches. That's not a problem. But you know, I never had the sort of setup. The workshop was just a bit too dirty for that. Now, I'll probably take a few pocket watches, and I'll pick and choose what I'm going to do with the pocket watches. I don't particularly want to be taking ones where I mean, it's difficult enough sometimes to get spare parts for clocks. I mean, never mind pocket watches, although I have got probably 1,000 pocket watch movements that are scrapped, basically just, you know, uncased or whatever, just put in boxes underneath me other small workshop, which is actually in my house. So I'll probably take one or two of them. I'm not really going to do videos on pocket watches. I mean, there's many great videos on pocket watches on YouTube, which I enjoy. I watch them quite a lot, to be fair. When I'm not involved watching about clocks, I'm watching about that type of thing. I lead such an exciting life, if you know what I mean, where my videos are concerned. I mean, people ask me about governments and what's going on. Being honest with you, sometimes I don't know. I've been too involved in watching a video that Tommy Jobson's doing, or one of someone else, one of us, or whatever we're doing. You know, I take great interest in it. Yeah, some fantastic videos on YouTube. What would we do without it? But this is my little workshop again. As I say, I just try and improve it, but I think I'm getting to the stage where I'm going to leave it now. Oh yeah, just talking about my lathe. I seen a couple of lathes over this is just a general chat as it always turns in with what I do. I seen a few lathes. I seen a nice Myford, is it ML10, and I was looking at a Myford Super 7, and you know, and my old Drummond, it's you know, I've had it for a long time now, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to get, if I see one with a lot of tooling and stuff like that, I think I might have mentioned the particular lathe after someone's got, and you know, he's playing a bit hard to get with me on that one, but anyway, that's life. But I thought, you know, I fancy getting something else, and if this is an old lathe and that now, but you know, I went through them and then I looked at some of the tooling that was missing and the things, and I mean, it's all got all the tools it needs, and you know, it's never let us down. It's great. It's really accurate, the old lathe, and I nearly pulled the trigger again and bought something, and then suddenly dawned on me, what are we going to do with this other lathe? We'll have to sell it, and then it's going to be, you know, a two-man job to get out the way, because I think the stand weighs something like £300. I mean, it's a proper heavy piece of kit. It's, you know, and the lathe I think's about £90. I think, yeah, it's somewhere in them regions if you look on the lathe thing. So it's a van job. I mean, I remember getting it, and I got it in. I had a Mercedes estate at the time, and I remember getting it in that, and the Mercedes was on its backside, should we say, as I was driving along. And I mean, I was a bit scared going over speed bumps, to be honest with you. I don't think I've done that car any favours. I mean, didn't really like the car anyway, to be honest with you. I mean, got the car pretty new when I got it, but you know, I'd had 4 befores, and it just was, I don't know, it felt like a tin can or something. But anyway, it was, so yeah, so that's when I got the lathe. So anyway, I come back in my workshop, started to do my work in a workshop, and then I thought, I'm too attached to you, I can't get rid of you. You'll have to stay for a while, you know. So it's in the other workshop, it's being cleaned up. I've took some of the pulley stuff off it, the wheel, the thread cutting stuff off the end, but I don't need it. I've just put it away in a box if you ever do come to sell it. So yeah, it lives to fight another year, and I'm sure it'll live on anyway. I can't see me somehow, as I say, I feel too attached to it, so I don't think I'm going to be able to get rid of it that easy. I mean, this other lathe, I think, is always the one I'm after is going to be the only replacement. I think it's the only thing that's going to turn me head, and it's really simply because it did belong to another clock restorer, of an eminent clock restorer who I never unfortunately met, but I heard a lot about, and I actually seen the lathe. It's actually in the corner of another workshop at the moment with all boxes on top of it and all the tooling and everything, and the guy has got another 3 lathes and he won't part with it, and so there's not much I can do. I've just got to wait and see what happens, and I don't feel it will happen. I feel it would have happened by now, but yeah, if it did come along somehow, yeah, I think I'd have to bid a sad farewell to me drumming, but you know, it is what it is. Anyway, this is John from Clock Repairs Merseyside. Hope everybody has a great Christmas. Keep your comments coming, and please subscribe. And you know, it makes it all worthwhile at the end of the day. It makes it feel that people are actually looking at me stuff, and that's it. Great, makes it worthwhile. Anyway, John from Clock Repairs Merseyside. Have a great Christmas and a happy New Year. Thank you.